I had a conversation with Annie Ruggles recently, and one of the things she spoke about was how can we ensure or help small business to thrive and succeed coming out of the pandemic. As you know, we've been playing different episodes for you and talking to different guests who are sharing their insights on how we can improve sales going out of the pandemic. Annie's going to help our small business owners, you and I. Even if you're a sales rep in a company, you're still a small business owner. You're running your territory, right? We're going to give you some ideas of what you can do to make sure that you're truly thriving, that you're succeeding, and that you're making some more money and actually survive this thing. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast here on TSC TV on YouTube. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have the one and only Annie Ruggles, and she is a sales leader. She is a sales coach, and she guides individuals, entrepreneurs, and folks like you and me are trying to improve our sales skills every single day. In this episode today, she's going to tell you about how we can ensure that our business actually survive going out of this pandemic thing. What can we do to make sure that we're generating the business opportunities and the things we need to do so that we can really be in a position that we're succeeding? There's some great stuff ahead, great insights that she has for this episode. And I'm not going to tell you about them until you listen to it. So sit back, get your seatbelts buckled, because she brings a lot of energy and excitement, and we had a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Annie, you bring this ball of energy, and I'm excited to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining me.
It is my pleasure to be your energy ball today, Donald.
So before we dive in, I bragged about you in a teaser there, but tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
So the Non-Sleazy Sales Academy, which is my company, was born of weird desperation because I never expected to be selling or teaching sales. And what happened was I was in marketing and branding for very small businesses for so long, and I desperately loved it, but none of my clients were ever reaching the levels that they should reach. And I certainly wasn't either. And so I thought, why is this happening? I have these incredible small businesses driven by all the proper nouns: purpose, vision, mission, calling, vocation, and yet they're struggling to compete, and we can't just blame everything on Amazon. Why is this happening? And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I realized that know, like, trust had led me down a path of constant marketing, but made me feel emboldened enough to not ever ask. And I wasn't actually emboldened. I was terrified. Of the ask. I didn't know how to do it. I knew I didn't want to be asked how I had been asked previously. So what was I going to do? I couldn't find the training that I was looking for at the time that really helped me use my empathy and my people skills and my style to sell. So I went out and created it, and now I teach sales avoidant people how to solve problems for money in a way that makes them feel great and keeps their business alive.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds like a mission there. That sounds like purpose right there.
It's the accidental purpose, we all wander around where's my purpose? And we can't find it. And then you stop looking for 5 seconds because you get caught up in something else, and it just sort of slaps you. I'm like, oh, okay, apparently this is my purpose. Sales. Who knew?
And there's power in that. There's a lot of awesomeness when it comes down to really understanding your sales and really knowing what to do from that. So I want to talk up to you about this today. How do my small business survive? As you know, we've been focusing this series on what happens now post the pandemic rush. We've gone through the phase, we've gone through the challenges. How do I ensure that my business is going to thrive and to succeed? So I want to hear from you. What are some of your thoughts, feelings, impressions on this? Where should we start?
Start with the areas of your selling that are not right for your message and delivery. A lot of us cobble together the sales information that we can find. And a lot of it we base on what our competitors have done, what we've been taught to in, the info crack we buy, whatever it is, we cobble it all together. But here's the thing. We don't do integrity or ethics audits on our own stuff a lot, but as you're getting back out there in more visible ways, as we're returning to in-person service and more and more and more, if there are things in your selling system that feel like gimmicks, tricks, arm twisting, that you're talking down to the customer, that you're pushing too hard on a pain point or ignoring the pain point entirely, you no longer have the excuse of COVID to keep those bad habits going. What we have to do in order to survive is give ourselves the gift of that clean slate to look at our selling procedures, identify the places where more education or more skill is needed. Focus on those, but don't just keep going for the easy arm twisty fixes. There's no need for that. And the other thing is, we have a tendency as small business owners to sell and to manage our sales folks, to sell to people exactly like us, or to sell to people who love to be sold to how we do. In order to really make a lasting impression on a wider network again, we have to make sure that we're balancing the emotional side of selling, the storytelling, the sparkle, the razzle dazzle, the why, and the details, the how, the KPIs, the how this thing's going to be delivered, right? How many modules it has or what ingredients it doesn't have, depending on what you're selling. When you're going back out there, we have to make sure that emotional buyers, detail and fact-based buyers, and everybody in between feel heard, or they will not return to our businesses.
I like how that rhymed. They feel heard or they will not return.
There we go. Before I was a ball of energy, now I'm an accidental poet. It's all happening here on the Sales Evangelist podcast.
No, but you're. I really I can resonate with that a lot, and I think many of us can when we're in one way or another. Whether you're a sales leader or you're a sales rep, or even if you're like in this situation, if you're the business owner managing an organization, just treating people like people, helping people to understand that you care for them, and helping them understand that you're trying to help them solve a problem. Because I think even more so right now, more than ever, like people want to have. And at least in my experience, I'm speaking for myself, like I feel like I want to have a good dialogue, a good relationship with people, and I don't want don't undermine my intelligence. And not that I ever care for that in any ways, but I don't have the opportunity or don't have the time to put up with that mess anymore. I think everyone's gone through so much during COVID. Like there's so many like difficulties, so much emotional challenges. Like the last thing I want is for somebody to be disgenuine. Over the past year, we've seen when you are genuine, how much more important that is. So if you're coming into this game and you're being like sleazy or you're using some old trick, it's not going to be towards your success. Help people to feel that you care for them or that connection.
And how pain points are especially, right? So one thing that you said is treating people like people. I get asked all the time, well, how do you define non-sleazy selling? And it's exactly that. Sleazy selling treats people like transactions. Non-sleazy selling honors the person that pays the transaction, right? It honors the person behind the transaction. And a huge way we do that is how we dance on pain points. We got to talk about them. They got to get brought up. But one thing that's not working after this traumatic, a year and a half, at point of recording, a year and a half, is that we are all maxed out. We are all traumatized, capital T and little t, in a billion different ways, not just by COVID, by what's happening in the political climate of wherever you live, by the economy being so nuts. Like, every single Australia was on fire a year ago, right? Like, we are all freaking traumatized. So the last thing that people want is to reach out to someone for help, only to have that person go, Donald, I I know a lot of people whose businesses were amazing during COVID. I know people, did you know that there were 48 new billionaires made during COVID? How come that's not you, Donald? You must have sat on your butt the whole time. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That might have been motivating in the past for the right buyer. Now that same person is going to go, excuse you? Do you know what I personally have been through? I haven't hugged my mother in 15 months. You're going to come in here and yell at me about not being a billionaire. Are you joking? We're going to find people that are less willing to be nurtured in that way, because what they really want now is not the easy button. They're ready to get back into the throw of it, but they want assurances that this is the right choice for them to get back on top or get further ahead than they ever have before.
They want to repeat the last part. They want
assurances.
The assurances.
Right? Trust is more important than ever. Honesty is more important than ever. We hear so much about authenticity. Authenticity is amazing, but the reason why authenticity is important is because it fosters trust.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's so much that you're you're seizing on that one. There are I think the sales reps who are or in companies where they have like those quotas that they are compelled to hit. I mean, everyone, we have those. The ones that can come back to that idea of looking for ways to build the trust are going to have a better opportunity. But I guess the question now is, we know this, we've heard this before. What are some of the things that people are doing that may be subtle, that's not building trust and they don't realize it, or might be eroding the trust that they have with the prospect?
If you have the ability to throw your sales script out the window, please do.
The window is shut right now, so I'll close the book.
Open it up. Take your script. And here's the thing, like you were just talking about, people selling in a pit do not have that luxury. People whose calls are being recorded for quality control don't really have the luxury to just show up however they want. But what I see as a huge point of disconnect, and you've done a lot of episodes lately about listening. Listening is so key here. But what if we could take the spiel that people are expecting and reverse that on its head? I start every single call that I have saying, you have questions about me, I have questions about you. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first? That totally blows minds. It's the easiest sentence in the world. But what people are expecting, and warily, is the second you get onto any call about a sales call with me, strap in, turn your ears on, because I'm about to word vomit at you for 28 minutes of a 30-minute discovery call and then force you to make an outcome at the end, force you to make a decision at the end. No. Number one, how do you know if you're the right fit for them if you blab the whole time? True. Number two, how do you know which of your offerings to offer them if you blab the whole time? How do you know what metrics are important to them if you blab the whole time? So instead of just saying, okay, we got 28 minutes and I got a lot to cover, you know what? Here's what our clients say. No, stop. Donald, I'm so excited and grateful for your time today. I want to know, without any fluff, what is the most important problem that we can be solving together, and how will you know if we're successful? Great. That sounds awesome. What questions do you have about the process? Right? Let the client have more control, because at the end of the day, we're not driving the car. We're navigating, but we're not driving. So release the reins a bit and relax into listening. And then also, one other thing that we can do is set the boundaries of the clients who aren't right for us. Again, if you're in a pit and you just got to keep picking up the phone,
Dial for dollar.
You still know the nightmare client. You still know sometimes that this is not going to go well. Yes, it'll be a check mark on your sheet, but you're not going to get a lifetime investment out of this person. Same thing for small businesses. If someone comes in and if you own a cafe and someone is coming in and they are treating your employees terribly, Do you want to encourage their repeat business? You might.
Nope.
If you're cash strapped, if you have had the worst COVID year ever, fine. But no, long term, I am not going to allow. Like Walgreens has signs now that says you are not allowed to harass our pharmacy staff. And by being here, you agree to that.
Wow.
That's a boundary.
Yeah.
Right? So what are the boundaries of how you're being treated, how your team is being treated? What are the boundaries of how your skills and services are being used? Or how you yourself are as provider are being used? That's what we got to do to get into that trusting space, that loving space, and that very profitable space that's founded in trust.
So we're doing this, we're building this trust, we're building the human connection. What else do I need to do that I'm not doing right now that can help my business to survive and thrive post-COVID?
Do more to rise against the horrible reputation of selling.
Talk about that further.
There are so many people that I talk to. I mean, these are the people why I have a job, but there are so many people day to day that go, I can't sell. Oh, God, I could never sell. That's still happening. How is that still happening? In the age of the internet, it's not like we only have to go to the corner store across the street. We can have literally anything brought to us in minutes, but yet we still have this idea that selling requires this ghoulish, predatory behavior. And by not speaking out about how proud you are about how you sell, and by not publicizing your ethics, your integrity, and your values in a beautiful way, we are continuing to say people who sell are unethical, people who beg are unethical, people who just everything comes naturally to their chosen salespeople. No, 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 no. Whoever you are, whatever your personality is, even if you are painfully introverted, even if you are the spongiest empath in the world, you are a salesperson if you're delivering value and receiving profit.
So go back to what you said there. Like, it's the notion that you pretty much described everybody in the world there. We are all selling. We are all selling, and we all have the capacity, or we all have the capability to be able to do to influence is probably one of the things I like to use, to influence others, because we influence others whether it's like, I think if people took the word selling out, or took sales out of the mix, they'll realize that they're doing the same thing that I'm doing as a sales professional when it comes towards moving people, whether that's a family member or a loved one or whatnot. So it's like we do more to be able to help move others to follow the cause, or to change their life, or whatever the thing is that you're moving them to do, to buy your software because it's going to help their business, or take advantage of your legal services because that's going to impact their life, or to join the training program that you have because it's going to help their business. But it comes back down to that simple fact of like, am I helping them to see the bigger picture? I just had a conversation with a guest, Annie, and one of the things he talked about was the idea of emotions and how and I think especially coming after COVID, are we just doing like linear sales conversation, or am I looking for ways to add emotions that go back to what we talked about, the human side to it, and to help people to understand, like, I know what it's like right now. Going back to the thought here, building a trust. I know what it's like right now. I had family members and friends who went through some of the same challenging situations. And if you're selling, I had a client. I guess still have them. They sold life insurance, and one of the things that she was apprehensive about was talking about her story, how she lost a child and she didn't have anything to take care of the post, the post like funeral and some of those post life services, and she went into life insurance sales because she wanted to help other moms in that situation. So now she felt that if I'm going to have that conversation with people, does it feel like I'm exploiting my son's situation? I'm like, no, it does not.
No.
That's helping people not to fall in that same category. And the emotion of understanding that Not that if you use it not as a weaponizing it, but using it as a way to be able to help someone understand, I know where you're coming from. I know the challenges you're going through, and I don't want you to go through some of these difficulties. Learn from my way. That's moving people using emotions and helping them to understand how this can help benefit or impact their life. I don't know if I'm making sense. If I'm making sense,
no,
Annie, give me an amen.
You totally are. Absolutely amen. And here's what I want to say to that person, to that mom. Number one, if you are a parent, you are a salesperson. Number two, if you are a coach, you are a salesperson. Number three, if you are a teacher, you are a salesperson. You are constantly guiding people toward the decision that they need to come to, right? But the thing is, if you're telling your story, how do you know how much emotion of your own to bring? How do you know how much emotion to elicit? For me, the secret is, think of it as a volume dial, and maxed all the way up is detail all the way up. So if your client wants to get on the call with somebody and tell her story, what she doesn't want to do is come off like it's all about her. What she doesn't want to do is violate herself in the telling. So she's not going to tell anybody her son's name, the date and time he died, the details of his funeral, what he was buried in, like, you know, how long, what every single detail of pain was. But she is going to dial the detail back a little bit and say, I lost a son. I didn't have insurance. I felt like a bad mom even after he was gone. You know, that's the emotional world she was living in. The details are where we violate our boundaries. Same with the clients. We can say, it's the old therapy question. How did that make you feel, right? So we can say, in my experience, I felt this way. I thought these things. I said these things to myself, and I responded in the following ways. Does any of that resonate with you? What were your emotions? What were your behaviors like? We can elicit it from our own point. But also on that same dial, we're not going to get on the thing and go, tell me the worst moment that happened in the days leading up to losing your son. Tell me rock bottom.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. Where's your son buried? Whoa, you don't need to know that, lady. Right?
Yeah.
So, but what we do is we dial down the detail. We dial up the emotion. And that keeps us, right? Dial down the detail, dial up the emotion. It also helps us cast a wider net in terms of demographics, but get those people in terms of psychographics, right? It helps you be more specific in that I can't say, are you a mother of a 7-year-old girl who recently died and you feel X and Y, right? I'm going to get a very small subsection. But where I could say, are you a grieving parent or someone dealing with a terminal illness or any other horribly terrifying reality of parenthood? You don't want to think about life insurance right now, but you should. And here's why. I've also been a parent who's gone through this loss, and I wish I would have thought about this before. I don't want to add to your stress level. I want to add to your peace. That's why I think you and I should have a 20-minute conversation about preparing for the worst, just in case, right? How compassionate. And I didn't say any detail about them or about me.
No. It's just, you just had it's more, again, being the genuine individual. And especially, again, I feel after coming out of this thing, out of COVID, that would be something that we crave. We're craving connection more so than ever.
Yes.
So the sellers that can help an individual connect with them, you may be the only main connection that they've had in a very long time. If that's the case, how can I ensure that I'm a lasting connection and not somebody that's just trying to exploit?
We have the constant ability, the constant gift, the constant pleasure of having the chance to make other people feel seen.
Yeah.
And even if we're selling tacos or, you know, dollar store trinkets, whatever it is, in every transaction, we have a chance to make that client feel like somebody, and not in a stupid VIP, why are we rolling out the red carpet at Walmart type, like not like that, but we can stop and we can be present, and especially if people are sharing painful stories with us, especially if people are being honest and upfront about their objections, especially if people are really open with you about why the problem that you're solving matters to them. Then all we have to do is be present, be honest, and listen.
Oof. Present, be honest, and listen. This is awesome stuff. I really love it. I love it. If there's one major piece of advice you want folks to walk away from this episode with, what's that one major piece of advice, Annie?
Learn when to close your mouth and listen. Especially after the price point, we have a tendency to do what I call sales vomit, where we just babble and babble and babble to try to fill the space. Do not fill the space. That is their thinking space. Respect them by giving them the space to think, and give yourself a little break in between. And by all means, please still throw that script out the window if you are able to do so.
Well, Annie, we are so grateful to have you here. We're appreciative of you being on our podcast. If folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
If you are in an education space, if you are sponging up knowledge, go to my website, anniepruggles.com. You'll find my masterclass there, a quiz, every show I've been on, my own beloved podcast. It's all on the website. But listen, if you are in active sales avoidance, if you have something coming up that worries you, do not go to my website. Don't do it. I can't help you as quickly through my website. So what I want you to do is I want you to reach out to me on a platform with messaging. The best two for me are LinkedIn, where I'm just under my name, or Instagram, where I'm at Anniepreneur, ANNIEPRENEUR. Let me know what you have ahead of you. Let me know what you think their objections might be or the areas where you get stuck. I'd love to give you some flash coaching in the moment so you do not go into your next sales call unprepared.
Oh, Annie, love this. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. We appreciate you 100%.
It is so wonderful to be here to evangelize sales with you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Listen, that was Annie Ruggles, and if you haven't connected with her as of yet, I want you to go ahead and do so. You can find her link down below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, or wherever, just go and click on a link. Go connect with her and take advantage of the offer. She told you she was going to help you out if you come into find yourself in a sales pickle. If you want to get some insights or some help from her, just go back to her website. She has a lot of information there. We share all this stuff and we bring folks like Annie on the podcast because we want you to thrive and succeed. We want you to increase your opportunities of being the best sales professional you can possibly be. We want you to generate more business than you ever done before. We want you to find more of those ideal customers. We want you to take advantage of tools. This is why we recommend things like the sponsors who sponsor our podcast. They're giving you access to their tools to help you to succeed and for you to thrive. We really do want that for you. We want you to get more business done, more deals closed. But most importantly, we want you to raise your level of thinking. We want you to go beyond what you think you can do and go out each and every single day and do big things. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.